I'm not going to get into all the fluff stuff with it. I thought it was a great stage show. I love choreography. I love performances. I love performers. I thought it was done well. Even with Eminem's weird microbladed face. His microblade beard and his microblade mustache and his microbladed super thick 70s brows. It was like RuPaul came and just like sketched facial hair on his face. I don't know what was happening. I need to get this out of my system because every time the camera got his face on screen, I was distracted. I'm like, is that like even a natural color, that auburn shade that occurs naturally on humans? Because it was weird, man. It's just weird. Like, but just stop. And my youngest son came in and could not get over the way that Snoop danced. Because it was like this old man kind of, if you ever have been to a family wedding, every old man in your family has danced like him. Black or white, does not matter. I thought it was actually a pretty non-political show. I don't care if old man Eminem wants to take a knee. He probably gave out on him. I don't know. I don't care. If that's the most political thing about it, it was a nice break from the 24/7 politicization. And he bowed his head so we didn't have to look at his crazy weirdo permanent marker mustache beard weird face. So I was happy that he hid it from all of us. It was a distraction. But here's something else that I thought of too. And I was jokingly saying this last week leading up to the Super Bowl. Like, when do conservatives start liking NFL again? I don't go along with the hive because I'll do what I want. I don't watch football because I come from St. Louis. We have a history with the Rams. I was raised to not like football as much. It's a long story. I'm not going to get into it. We're a baseball town. But nobody bent a knee during the anthem. And Eminem doing his weird thing where he thankfully hit his face, that was like as political as it got. I don't have a problem with any of that. I don't have a problem with it. I just think if we're going to complain about something, make it be worth complaining about. I thought it was a great halftime show. I know I had a friend who was like, well, the booty shaking with 50 Cent part, that was satanic. I'm like, first off, there was the shorts, the boom boom shorts are scanty. Scanty, is that a word? Usually that's what gymnasts and cheerleaders wear. It could have been, I think it's a walk back from the over hyper-sexed performances we've seen at the Super Bowl. So I'm pleased with that new direction that I'm seeing with his performances. And it made me think, is that maybe going to be back the new normal? Because everything got so hypersexualized. They actually made it cringe in a way. Do you ever think when everyone talks about Gen Z and young men in the Generation Z and how they are not as hyper-sexed as millennials or Gen X or even boomers were, did anyone ever stop and think, because they've maybe been so desensitized to it, it's cringe to see the hypersexualization in performances and in marketing and in everything else? I mean, you make it to where it's a joke. At some point, if you see enough women shaking their butts and you see enough, cleavage, and I mean, that goes beyond like scantily clad to where you have people that are half naked, then it just becomes common, and people are desensitized. And if you try to go beyond that, then it's cringe. I'm wondering if anybody stopped to like consider that in terms of Gen X preferences and behavior. But as I said, nobody took a knee at the anthem. Nobody did any of that. And it was, except for the Lambs winning, it was a relatively, it seemed as though it was an effort to start to put things right. And before everything got super hyper politicized. I had some people who were telling me that it was the most racist halftime show they ever saw. And I'm like, I disagree with you. Why? I mean, first off, you had, yes, I'm going to say it again. He had his, whatever the hell that was on his face and brows, Eminem, up there. But is it because the majority of the performers were black? Because I've seen, they literally had the Stones do an entire halftime show before, and they're all white and super old. Paul McCartney, I mean, I could sit here and go on and on. I still think that the best halftime show ever was Prince. I just don't think anybody's ever going to be able to top Prince. I love the stage and the performance of this, but Prince, man, was just, it was ridiculous. But I don't think it was racist. I don't even think it was woke. I think that goes too far. I want to caution you. There are and it's on right and left. And I'm not trying to Bill O'Reilly it here, but it's on right and left. I can't stand people that constantly try to keep everybody's outrage amped up. There wasn't anything woke about this, despite some of the people 10 years younger than me who act like they are the youngest boomers out there. I have not seen, this is not super woke. It was not anything like that. I do think that there are people who want you to consider, to keep you, beware of those people. I'm telling you what, as somebody who has been out here doing actual conservative grassroots work before for a long time, right and left, don't think that someone identifying on the right makes them holier, or it's somehow being on the right is sanctification of their principles. Sometimes some of the most Machiavellian people and some of the biggest grifters out there can be hidden right under your nose. I'm just saying. It just seemed, I saw a number of people who really wanted everybody to be really upset over this halftime show. And I'm like, why? It doesn't make sense to me.